Let me tell you something that most people are never going to hear in their lifetime, and the ones who do hear it are probably not going to take it seriously. And that is exactly why 99% of people will never truly succeed in life. I want you to sit with that number for a second. 99%. That is almost everyone around you. That is your neighbors, your coworkers, your classmates, maybe even some members of your own family. These are people who are working hard every single day. People who are waking up at 6 in the morning. People who are paying their bills and raising their kids and doing everything that society tells them they are supposed to do. And yet they are never going to build the kind of life that they actually dream about. They are never going to experience real financial freedom. They are never going to build something meaningful from scratch. They are going to spend their entire lives trading time for money and wondering why it never seems to be enough. And the man who understood this better than almost anyone alive is Jack Ma. Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, a man who was rejected from Harvard 10 times, a man who could not get hired at KFC when they were hiring 24 people and rejected 23 of them but still rejected him. A man who had almost nothing to his name when he started, went on to build one of the largest companies in the history of the world and became one of the wealthiest people on the planet. And when people asked him how he did it, his answers were not what they expected. He did not talk about secret strategies or hidden tactics. He talked about mindset. He talked about the way most people think and why that thinking is the very thing that keeps them stuck. So today, I want to walk you through what Jack Ma actually figured out. The real reasons why 99% of people never succeed, and what the 1% does differently that changes everything. The first thing you have to understand is that most people are afraid of failure in a way that is completely paralyzing. And I'm not talking about the normal, healthy kind of caution that keeps you from doing something reckless. I am talking about a deep, bone-level terror of being wrong, of looking stupid, of trying something and having it not work out. Jack Ma failed constantly. He failed so many times and in such spectacular fashion that most people would have given up long before they even got started. He applied to 30 jobs and got rejected from all of them. He applied to Harvard 10 separate times and was denied every single time. The police force rejected him. Hotel jobs rejected him. KFC rejected him. He was not a special student. He was not a gifted child who was always destined for greatness. He was just a regular guy from Hangzhou, China, who happened to refuse to let failure mean anything permanent. And that is the key distinction. Most people treat failure like a verdict. When something does not work, they take it as confirmation that they were not meant for it, that they do not have what it takes, that maybe the dream was too big. Jack Ma treated failure like data. It told him something did not work, and he filed that information away and tried a different approach. He once said that if you do not give up, you still have a chance. And he meant that literally. The act of continuing, of refusing to stop, is itself a form of success in progress. But most people never get there because they quit the moment things get hard, and things always get hard. Think about how many businesses have never been started because someone was afraid they might fail. Think about how many incredible ideas have died inside someone's head because they were too scared to put them out into the world. Think about how many people have stayed in careers they hated, relationships that made them unhappy, and cities they wanted to leave, all because the uncertainty of change felt worse than the certainty of a life they did not want. Fear of failure is the single greatest enemy of success, and it is completely invisible because most people dress it up in rational-sounding language. They say things like, now is not the right time, or I need to do more research first, or I am waiting until I have enough money saved up. But what they are really saying is, I am scared, and I am not ready to deal with the possibility of things not working out. Jack Ma was not fearless. Nobody who has ever succeeded at anything significant was fearless. What he was willing to act in spite of the fear, and that is the entire difference. The second reason most people never succeed is that they think small by default, and they do not even realize they are doing it. Jack Ma said something in an interview that stuck with me for a long time. He said that when he started Alibaba, nobody believed in him. Not his friends, not his family, not investors, not the government. He went to his apartment and pitched the idea of Alibaba to 24 of his friends, and 23 of them told him not to do it. They thought it was too risky. They thought the internet was a passing fad. They thought he was being naive and irresponsible. And for a few seconds, I want you to think about what it would feel like to have that experience. You have this vision for something that you genuinely believe could change the world, and the people closest to you, the people who know you best, the people who want good things for you, are telling you that it is a bad idea. Most people in that situation would listen. Most people would say, okay, maybe I am missing something. Maybe they are right. Maybe I should scale back my ambitions and find something more realistic. And that word, realistic, is one of the most dangerous words in the English language when it comes to success. Because realistic is always defined by what has already been done, not by what is possible. Jack Ma did not scale back. He did not listen to the 23 people who said no. He listened to the one person who said yes, which happened to be himself, and he went ahead anyway. And the reason he could do that is because he was not thinking small. He was not asking, how do I build a decent little business that pays my bills? He was asking, how do I change the way commerce works in China? And when you are operating with that level of vision, the obstacles that stop most people start to look different. They are not stop signs. They are just things you have to figure out on the way to where you are going. Most people have been conditioned since childhood to think within certain boundaries. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe job, work for 30 years, retire, and hope that everything works out. Nobody in that system is encouraging you to dream at a scale that would make the people around you uncomfortable. Nobody is sitting you down and telling you that the biggest problems in the world are also the biggest opportunities, and the people who solve them become the people who change everything. Jack Ma understood that the size of the problem you are willing to take on is directly proportional to the size of the success you can achieve. He was not trying to build a company that would make him comfortable. He was trying to build something that would help millions of small businesses in China connect with the world. And because his vision was that big, everything else, the funding, the team, the technology, all of it eventually came together because the vision was powerful enough to attract what it needed. The third reason is something that Jack Ma talks about a lot, and it is the difference between complaining and solving. Most people, when they encounter a problem, spend the vast majority of their energy complaining about it. The economy is bad. The government is corrupt. The market is unfair. Rich people have advantages that regular people do not have. The system is rigged. And here is the thing. Some of those complaints are true. The system does favor certain people. The economy does create real disadvantages for those starting from the bottom. Networking and connections do matter, and not everyone has access to them. Jack Ma would not argue with any of that. But he would also point out that complaining about a problem does not solve it, and successful people are the ones who look at a problem and start asking, okay, so what can I do about this? He grew up poor in communist China at a time when the country was not exactly a hotbed of entrepreneurial opportunity. He identified what he could control, and he worked on that relentlessly, while letting go of what he could not control. That is not some magical personality trait that only some people are born with. That is a decision. It is a choice that you can make right now, in whatever circumstances you are in, to stop spending your energy on what is wrong and start spending it on what you can actually do. The fourth reason is one that almost nobody wants to hear, and that is that most people are not willing to put in the kind of work that success actually requires. Not because they are lazy, but because they have a fundamentally wrong idea of what hard work looks like at the level we are talking about. Jack Ma famously talked about working 9 to 9, 6 days a week, which became known as the 996 work schedule. And while there is a lot of debate about whether that kind of schedule is healthy or sustainable long term, the underlying point he was making is real. In the early days of building something, the effort required is not normal. It is not clock in, clock out, do your 8 hours and go home effort. It is the kind of effort that consumes your thinking even when you are not technically working. It is the kind of dedication where you are thinking about the problem in the shower and solving it in your dreams and bringing up related ideas at dinner when your family just wants to talk about something else. Most people are not willing to operate at that level, and that is completely understandable. It is genuinely hard. It requires sacrifice. It requires saying no to things that would be fun or comfortable in the short term. But here's the thing that nobody tells you clearly enough. The people who are winning at the highest level are almost always outworking you in a way that is not even close, not slightly harder, not 20% more. They are operating in a completely different category of dedication, and that gap in effort is reflected in the gap in outcomes. Jack Ma did not build Alibaba by working a normal amount. He built it by being obsessed with it in a way that most people would find exhausting just to watch. And this is not about glorifying overwork or telling you that your health and relationships do not matter. It is about being honest about what the early stages of any significant success require. If you want average results, average effort is enough. But if you want results that 99% of people never achieve, you need to be willing to do what 99% of people are not willing to do. And that starts with the level of effort and focus you are bringing to your work every single day. The fifth reason is about learning, and specifically about who most people learn from and who they do not. Jack Ma has said many times that he learned more from his customers than he ever learned from business school. He has said that the best education he got was from the market itself, from failing and adjusting and failing again and adjusting again. Most people, when they want to learn how to do something, go to the people who are most like them, people in similar situations, people at similar levels, people who are struggling with the same problems. And while there is value in community, and there is definitely something to be learned from people who are in the trenches with you, the most important learning comes from people who are way ahead of you, people who have already solved the problems you are dealing with, people who have already made the mistakes you are about to make. Jack Ma was obsessed with learning from people he admired and respected. He studied the great business people of his time. He paid close attention to how companies were being built in America and thought about how those ideas could be adapted for China. He was always in learning mode, always absorbing, always asking questions. And the people who succeed at the highest levels share this trait. They are relentlessly curious. They never think they know enough. They are always looking for the next piece of information that is going to change how they see things or give them an edge. Most people, by contrast, stop actively learning at some point in their adult lives. They get comfortable with what they know. They stop reading books that challenge them. They stop putting themselves in rooms where they are the least informed person. And when you stop learning, you stop growing. When you stop growing, you stop advancing. And when you stop advancing, you eventually start falling behind, because the world does not pause for anyone. The sixth reason is about patience. And this is one that might surprise you, because we live in a culture that is obsessed with speed. Everything needs to happen fast. Results need to come quickly. If something is not working after a month or two, we start questioning whether we should stick with it or pivot or just give up entirely. Jack Ma built Alibaba for years before it was profitable. Years. He and his team were working around the clock, burning through whatever resources they had, dealing with competition and technical problems, and a market that was still trying to figure out whether it even trusted the internet. And they kept going, not because they could see the finish line, but because they believed deeply in what they were building, and they understood that anything worth doing takes time. The patience that success requires is not the passive, sit around and wait kind. It is the active kind, where you are putting in enormous effort every single day, while accepting that the results will come on their own timeline, not yours. Most people do not have this kind of patience, because nobody ever taught them how to develop it, and our entire culture works against it. We have been trained to expect instant feedback and immediate results. And when those do not show up, we take it as a sign that something is wrong. But Jack Ma understood that in the early stages of building anything great, the absence of immediate results is not a sign that something is wrong. It is just the nature of the compounding process that eventually produces extraordinary outcomes. Think about a bamboo tree. For the first 5 years after you plant it, you see almost nothing. The seed is in the ground, you are watering it, you are tending to it, and it looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the surface, the root system is growing and strengthening and spreading in ways you cannot see. And then, in the 6th year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. Success works the same way. The work you put in, when nothing seems to be happening, is building the foundation for everything that comes later. And most people quit in year 3 or 4, just before the breakthrough that was already in motion would have shown up. I didn't. The 7th reason is about the stories people tell themselves. Jack Ma has always been very clear that he is not the smartest person in the room. He is not the most technically gifted. He readily admits that he does not understand technology particularly well, which is remarkable given that he built one of the biggest technology companies in the world. What he understood was people. What he understood was vision. What he understood was how to build and lead and inspire and persuade. And he built a team of people who were brilliant at the things he was not, and he trusted them to do their work. But most people never get to that point, because they have convinced themselves that they are not qualified, not smart enough, not experienced enough, not connected enough, not talented enough to even try. They tell themselves the story that success is for other people, people who had advantages they did not have, people who were born into the right circumstances, people who got lucky at the right moment. And sometimes, those stories have elements of truth in them, but they are always incomplete. Because the fuller truth is that every significant success story in history is built on a foundation of people who had every reason to give up and decided not to. Jack Ma had every reason to give up, multiple times. And he kept choosing a different story. He kept choosing the narrative that said, I might not have everything I need right now, but I can figure it out. And that narrative was the most important resource he ever had. Idean. The story you tell yourself about who you are and what you are capable of is not a reflection of reality. It is a choice. You can choose to tell a story that limits you or a story that frees you, and that choice determines almost everything else. Most people are completely unconscious of the stories they are telling themselves. They think their beliefs are just facts, just the way things are. But beliefs are never just facts. They are always interpretations, and interpretations can be changed. When Jack Ma was getting rejected over and over again, he could have interpreted that as evidence that he was not good enough. Instead, he interpreted it as information about what was not working yet, and he kept going. That reinterpretation, that simple choice to see the same events through a different lens, is what separated him from the millions of people with similar intelligence and similar opportunities, who never built anything remarkable. Idean. The eighth reason gets into something that Jack Ma talks about very directly, which is the importance of serving others. He has said many times that the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make is thinking about how to make money rather than thinking about how to help people. And that sounds like a nice, inspirational thing to say, but it is actually a deeply practical insight. The businesses that create the most value are the ones that solve the most significant problems for the most people. If you build something that genuinely helps a lot of people, the money is almost a byproduct. It shows up because value creates value. But most people approach business and career from a scarcity mindset, where the primary question is always, what can I get, rather than what can I give, and what problem can I solve? Jack Ma built Alibaba on the premise that small businesses in China deserved access to a global marketplace that had previously been closed to them. He was not thinking about how to get rich. He was thinking about how to create a platform that would genuinely change the lives of millions of business owners who had no other way to reach international customers. And because that vision was fundamentally about service, it attracted the kind of loyalty and word of mouth and organic growth that no marketing budget could ever buy. Idean. This is not just a philosophical point. It has real, practical implications for how you approach your work, your career, your business, and your relationships. When you show up in any situation asking how you can be useful, how you can solve a problem, how you can add value, doors open for you that stay closed for the people who show up asking what they can take. This is one of the most counterintuitive truths about success.